I recall being on a train ride to Washington in 1991. I was reading the New York Times and I saw this great article about the conversion of the old Times Square Hotel into housing for people with disabilities. I thought that's a really neat idea, and it piqued my curiosity in the entire field of community development. And I knew the city of Paterson, and I knew about the challenges here in the city of Paterson, and for me it was a no-brainer to start a community development organization in Paterson to try and achieve some of the things that others had done elsewhere.
I sleep at night, and when my son leaves and he walks in any direction, I know that he's going to be okay, because on his way back he walks through this really cool area. And for a mom who always wanted to get her son out of the neighborhood and into a safe place, this is a safe place.
Bob and I shared a joint motivation in the formation of the NJCDC. We both had a heart for service, and then simultaneously we had just come from 4 years of administration where we were really served as support staff to our principals, but had ideas of our own.
One thing I remember distinctly was the original 13.5 Van Houten Street. I mean, working there when I started, NJCDC was very new. It was still in its infancy. And you'd come to work and you'd open one of the doors to one of the offices and all the tiles would shake and it would scare the people if it was your first time visiting. I mean, we had bats in that office flying around, and sometimes it was my job to catch the bat. It was just this old silk factory. We were in really raw space, but we were making great things happen. And I think that was some of the charm of NJCDC when it first started. Bob had a vision of what he was going to accomplish, and he just went out there and made it happen. And he made other people come on board.
I recall the sheer excitement of those first few years. I didn't want to go home at night. I wanted to stay and work harder to create programs and services. And I recall someone asking me, Bob, what would you have done if the organization did not succeed? And I reflected on that, and I realized that not once did the thought of failure ever enter my mind. Back in 1994, NJCDC was just an idea on paper, but behind that idea was a powerful belief that good people could come together to make a difference in the lives of our most vulnerable neighbors.
As Michael's mother, nothing means more to me than to see him living independently on his own in his own apartment and thriving. And I'm grateful for the NJCDC for giving him all the help they've given him for the last 23 years. It gives me peace of mind. Very pleased and grateful that he has the opportunity, and Bob told me he can stay there as long as he wants.
There's a young lady who's been with us since she was a teenager. She's helped us in a number of capacities, and things were a little rocky when we first met her, and I'm really grateful about a note that she recently sent me. I never met a group of people so passionate about their work to help others. She said, something that I've never told you about me is that
when I first began coming to NJCDC, I was dealing with a lot of things and I was losing hope. Then my mentor, TJ Best, introduced me to you and the Paterson Youth Council, ultimately saving my life. As I reflect on 13 years with NJCDC, I've gone from being on the Paterson Youth Council to serving on the board of the Community Charter School of Paterson. Thank you, Bob, for saving my life, and congratulations on 25 years.
I became the director of the Great Falls Teen Center, working right here at 32 Spruce Street about 15 years ago. And I got a chance to meet some dynamic young people and became part of their lives. And seeing just over time how they've grown, and most of them have gone off to college, and some have even gotten their master's degrees and have started their own professional careers, and they're here giving back to Paterson. It's like passing that torch from one generation to the next.
One of my favorite programs is the Paterson Youth Council, a year-long leadership development program. Last year, 3 of our students graduated and have gone on to Ivy League colleges just last year. And right now they're at University of Pennsylvania, Columbia University, and Princeton University. Kids from Paterson can and do succeed.
I don't think I would have gotten the motivation to apply to institutions like Columbia without the NJCDC's help. I think me being part of a collective of thinkers and leaders in my community, I think that motivated me so much to kind of get this education here at Columbia and then eventually go back to helping my community.
My grandma used to live in one of the NJCDC housing units, and my father used to work for the company. Unfortunately, they both are no longer with us, but I know that they will be really proud of me because I'm the first in my family to go to college. And not only that, because of the relationship that I built with NJCDC, especially Bob, NJCDC has really become my second family.
One of the projects we're most proud of is founding the Community Charter School of Paterson. In 2006, we convened a group of parents who wanted more choice for their kids in terms of neighborhood public schools. And so in 2008, the school opened. It currently serves 900 students in grades K to 8. It has a deep connection to the community, drawing on the rich array of organizations and agencies in Paterson who help to enrich the lives of our students and parents. You know, what's enormously gratifying is when we watch kids when they're young and then go through all of our programs, like Muhammad, who started at our preschool. He went all through the Community Charter School at Paterson. Now as a high school student, he goes to our teen center. He's in our Paterson Youth Council. Wow, it's amazing to see kids benefit from all that we do from the time they're infants all the way through high school graduation.
NJCDC's programs such as the Paterson Family Center, PYC, and CCSP have really encouraged me to go towards the path of success in college and attending college. I'm very thankful for NJCDC's Cradle to College pipeline. It has really helped me to get to where I am today.
Avalon Bay is a big real estate investment company. I didn't think I would be working for Avalon Bay if you would ask me in high school. The ability to kind of think outside and kind of see what's possible and push yourself to things you might not be exposed to is kind of one of the big themes, I think, from my experience at NJCDC. I've always learned about how can I take this opportunity and give back. So that's how we've been able to help partner Avalon Bay with NJCDC to be able to create programs. We've done playgrounds, it's been amazing, and it's been really helping a lot of my coworkers kind of get their first steps into philanthropy and really understanding what they can do to alter someone else's life.
And these people are family to me. And I would just like to thank NJCDC for being by my side through everything that's been going on for the past 2-3 years.
You know, it's been a great 25 years, and we've been fortunate to receive a lot of accolades. And I'm the one who always gets up at the podium and accepts those accolades. But I'm very aware that it's not me. It's the terrific staff that we have. It's our board of trustees. It's our corporate supporters. It's those in the foundation world. It's ordinary Patersonians who support the work that we do. All of those people collectively are what has made NJCDC an indispensable organization, and I'm eternally grateful for the work that everyone's done to promote our success.
NJCDC has a very special place in my heart, both professionally and personally. I started as an AmeriCorps member straight out of college in 2006, ran after-school programming at School 2 as an AmeriCorps member, and from there I knew it was working with young people, working with a community that really needed it. My only time away from NJCDC was 4 years spent in New Orleans, which was spurned by the AmeriCorps trip that my class took to do Katrina relief. It was also that work that led me to meet my wife. We work together here at NJCDC, so my family has grown and developed because of NJCDC.
I call him Bob the Builder. It's an affectionate term because let's think about the impact he's had on thousands and thousands upon thousands of children's lives. He's built countless playgrounds. Bob understands the necessity of safe places to play in neighborhoods in the city of Paterson. those that may have been forgotten, those are the very people that Bob fights for at NJCDC. So whether you've aged out of foster care, you've been homeless, you have a mental disability, the elderly, Paterson is a better place because Bob calls our city home.
They're changing our city every day. I wouldn't be where I am without them.
You know, I've watched this organization grow from a small, two-person AmeriCorps grant, to an organization that I described in an interview some years ago as providing cradle to career opportunities. And so when you think about the preschool, the daycare, then we saw the charter school, and then, each year the charter school added on, and then you had the home for the developmentally disabled, and then, you had transitional housing for kids aging out of foster care. And so all the different services that, the organization provided, and it provided jobs.
The challenges that we face are formidable because the challenges faced by inner city residents are formidable. There's too much poverty, there's too much homelessness, and there's too much idle time that steers kids in the wrong direction. And that's why we exist, because we have to continue to fight poverty, we have to continue to fight homelessness, and we have to continue to create programs and services that allows young people to reach their highest aspirations.
I'm particularly proud to have the William Waldman House named after me because it represents something as a former child welfare director that I care deeply about. Kids aging out of foster care often wind up in all kinds of bad situations, and they need a responsible adult. They need constant care, nurturance, and Bob gives it to them with that program. So I'm very proud to have been associated. It's the best.
What got me interested in NJCDC was that my son, Eric, was an intern at AmeriCorps. And he came home after doing his internship during the summertime and said, "Dad, this is a great organization, and you need to meet the fellow who runs it, Bob Garassi." So we arranged it, and I had a meeting with Bob. And the funny thing is, people say, "Well, what did he say to convince you to join?" I don't remember what he said, but I remember what the organization did. And I was impressed by the impact it had on families and children in need, and that really struck me. So I became immediately a supporter of Bob's and a supporter of NJCDC. In working with Bob over the years is to watch how the institution not only grew in size, but grew in focus and grew in impact.
Of people who have come out of the training ground that is New Jersey Community Development Corporation. We have leaders all over the state who started out at NJCDC, maybe even went back to NJCDC for a while and then went back out. But I meet people every day, I work with people every day, and their resume starts often with New Jersey Community Development Corporation, and that contribution to the field in the whole state of New Jersey, I think, is unique and incredibly valuable and important.
10 years ago, I relocated, was promoted with TD Bank to North Jersey. At that time, NJCDC was a recipient of a Housing for Everyone award through TD's Charitable Foundation. I presented the award, and that was my first interaction with Bob Garassi and Mike Powell. Subsequently, a month or two later, they invited me down to Paterson to see their organization and see the programs that they operate. I'll never forget the morning walking into 32 Spruce Street and seeing Paterson Family Center, where they operate a preschool of over 100 3- and 4-year-olds. And I think seeing those kids, they all had me at hello, and that was my decision to pretty much join the board. The work they do down there is magical. When you think of 91 cents of every dollar received is going directly to programs in Paterson through this organization. The work they do is absolutely incredible. And when you kind of look at some of the key strengths of the organizations, you got to go to Bob and his team. They truly have made NJCDC the fabric of the community within Paterson. But I truly believe we, the board, and Bob, the journey is only beginning and the best is yet to come.
smokestacks and a bright red sky was a sun rising on Paterson, and that sun was Bob's vision of NJCDC and all that it could accomplish.
It's been an enormously rewarding 25 years, but I understand that this work doesn't happen with us alone. It only happens with the continued support of caring individuals from throughout the state who have made NJCDC possible and who I know are going to continue to be part of this success story. So I thank everyone for what you've done, and I look forward to working with you in the days, weeks, and years to come to do even more to help people succeed here in the city of Paterson.